Story time. I'm on my way to get me a few things for the house, and I have my BCAAs from EHP Labs, so you can get that at the Vitamin Shop. I want to say they got BCAAs at Walmart or Target, but anyway, story time. When I lived in a shelter, what I learned from being in a room with other females and stuff like that, we was in one house. This wasn't like a big facility or anything like that. I stayed in a house shelter, and it was small. It only had 3 bedrooms and 1 bath. Well, yeah, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. And the person who basically watched us, like, he was like a house manager or something like that. He stayed downstairs and watched TV. Basically, we was in our rooms with our kids. We come down. The kitchen was in the basement. And we had to have a tote where we put all our stuff in there. It kind of reminds me of like how they say the jail is. We put our stuff in the totes. Like, you would basically take out what you need to go upstairs in the room. Everything else got to go in that closet downstairs. So I would just throw everything in there for me and my kids and just take upstairs like a washcloth, toothbrush, and all that stuff. So I would be in the room with these young ladies, and honestly, when I first got there, I was just like, oh my God, how long am I going to be here? I can't wait till I find me a house. Like, this is just, I'm over it, right? It wasn't like real dirty or nothing like that, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. It wasn't my cup of tea. They did stick me in a pretty good room. I ain't going to lie. I was in the front room with, it was a young girl. She got put out of her house. I think she was 16. So it was me and her, and then somebody else. Another little girl came in there, and they put her on the top bunk. I was at the bottom bunk. The other girl was on like the little twin bed. And down the hall was the other girls. Like, they had 3 kids, and I think one girl even had 4 kids. But yeah, being in that house taught me a lot of things though, because you see different personalities. Everybody coming from different, upbringings, and just a lot. Like, how they do things, like how they parent their kids, and when they talked about the relationships, how they got in the situation that they're in, how we all ended up in the shelter, was we with our kid's father, stuff like that, right? And so that situation kind of taught me that, like, number one, you could be up and you could be down, just like that, right? So you definitely got to appreciate life, and you don't take nothing for granted, because you could be so high in the sky and God can bring you right back down. And one girl was telling her story too. She was saying like how she was good. I think she had a really nice house, and then for some reason she lost it. So I was just like, sheesh, that's hard. Honestly, I was in a similar situation. I've had several apartments before I ended up in the shelter. I had 2. Right. Okay, yeah, so I had 2 apartments before I ended up in the shelter. And I understand what she's saying. I feel her. It's hard. It's tough. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be homeless. And sure, people are gonna say like, well, how the one thing I hate is when people be like, well, how you end up homeless if you got a mother or a father or whatever situation may have you, right? Now here's my thing. I ain't gonna speak on the whole personal situation, of my whole personal situation, but I will take accountability. I'm taking accountability in this situation and saying to y'all that I ended up homeless from being irresponsible. That's just what it was. Like, I ain't even gonna cut no corners. I was irresponsible. I was irresponsible with my finances. I was irresponsible, like, in my relationship. I was just not doing the right things. That's just what it was. And that's how I ended up homeless. Period. Relying on somebody else to carry me versus me not making sure that I'm taking care of my portion, or making sure that like, to prevent myself from being on the street, and making sure that I held my apartment down the right way. Like, whether you, and I'm speaking from a lady standpoint, ladies, if you are staying with a guy, like, say if it's your apartment is in your name, right, and you staying with a guy, yes, the guy might move in with you or whatever the case may be, but never depend on him to pay your bills. Because he can leave you whenever. And you still got to carry the weight. So that was my bad for not making sure everything was straight and on top of things. The apartment was in my name. So it's still stuck on me. He left and went back with his family, mother, whatever. So at the end of the day, it was on me. Back to the shelter. We all related on basically us getting, thrown out on the street and stuff like that. We got kids and stuff. And I got closer to God even more in those darkest times. When I say dark, I mean dark. To the point where I was crying on the bottom bunk every night. Like when I would change my kids' Pampers and put them to sleep. I'm not lying to y'all when I say my son had to sleep in a car seat. Some nights. Most of the nights. Because I didn't want to put... So my oldest daughter, she was she 15, 16 months, 17 months, something like that. And my son was 4 months, something like that. I didn't want to put him, I still was carrying him in a harness. I didn't want to put him on the bed. I'm like, heck no, I'm not putting my son on this bed, no. So I would just wash him up, and I never put him in a tub, in their tub anyway. No. So I would like basically bathe him, because I had one of those baby bathtub things, but it wasn't the full ones, it was the one where the seat fold up. So I had that fold up one. So I would put him in there and wash him up, get him up out of there, put him inside the car seat after I put his pajamas on or his clothes, onesie, and be done with it. But yeah, he would have to sleep in the car seat some nights because I didn't want my baby, even though I had receiving blankets and stuff like that, and I could have just, spread it out across the bed and stuff. I don't know. I just felt the way. I ain't really like it. Although I did have to lay my oldest daughter, Janaya, I had to lay her down on there. I did lay her down on the blanket, but he was so little. I don't know. I just felt the way. I just didn't want him on that bed. And I didn't like the bathroom. That bathroom was just old. It was one of them old. Y'all know them old bathrooms where like you got the full legs and it's like, y'all know what I'm trying to say. I can't really explain it. If I can find out and put a picture up. But one of them old tubs, it was given no. I ain't like it. And then I had to like, when it was time for me to cook, you basically had to wait because it was like, what was it, like 4 or 5 other girls in there, I believe. And we had to wait until they finished cooking and doing what they doing in the kitchen so that I can feed my kids. It was just like a lot going on. And then, mind you, they had like the owners, corporate people coming in there. I guess who's the head of the shelter would come and they would check out the shelter, make sure it's running how it's supposed to be ran. And we're just sitting there. We're just awkward. Like, then you couldn't be there during the day. You had to go to social services and get you your food stamps and your TCA and all of that stuff. So like I wasn't driving then, so I would have to like pack that stuff up, my diaper bag and stuff, and then get on the bus and go on to social services and try to seek help and stuff like that. Right? Now I'm getting to the point, y'all, because this is where the miracle happens. I'm ready to tell y'all. So, what was I gonna say? All right, so mind you, and my daughter was still having muscle spasms. Well, I guess whatever you call them, that I never knew was linked to like her having autism and epilepsy, right? But anyway, so I'm standing in the shelter. I'm crying every night. Lord, please save me. Like, I really need you to come save me. Like, this, I do not want to be here. This sucks. It's miserable. I feel lonely. I feel down and out. Mind you, the reason why my mother didn't want me to stay there is because she was saying, like, you got to have kids and you've been irresponsible. So, no, you can't stay in my house. So, figure it out. Okay, cool. Now, before y'all judge her and say, I would have never thrown my child out or whatever the case may be. I mean, I guess I look at it now like some form of tough love. Like, no, I'm not going to throw my kids out on the street. But I kind of get why she did what she had to do to me because look at me now. I'm strong. I'm holding it down at the end of the day. So, I'm just very grateful for that experience because she didn't coddle me. She was just like, no, you're going to figure it out. And that's just that. I appreciate her for that. But, yeah, so girls, like, we would basically, you had to stay outside all day. I think you couldn't come back in the house till like 4. I want to say they say you can come back in the house at 4 so that you can have your little group meeting and then, yeah, chill out for the rest of the day. If you go back outside, you got to be back in the house curfew at 9. That was our curfew. So whatever. All right, I was just like, this situation sucks. I hate it. Oh my God, I'm sleeping on a bunk bed with my 2 kids. Like, no. I cried. I searched for apartments. I was on Craigslist. I was searching bad, y'all. Me and the other girls that I got real close with, I used to walk down the hall and I used to sit on their floor in their room and let my kids, well, my daughter, play with their kids. And my son used to be in the car seat or whatever because, you know, he was a baby. And we would talk and exchange stories and stuff like that. And just relate. And like, that's all we really had was us. And we in there just making it, waiting for us to try to get something shaking. And one day they was like, all right, come on, we're going to leave out and try to make it back in time for curfew. But we about to go see if we can find an apartment we saw on Craigslist. So we go all the way up this spot. We had to catch the bus and then we had to walk all the way up with our kids. Like, I had my daughter in the stroller, my son on my harness, and it's like, it's dark and it's cold at night. But we was walking, okay? And this was like an area where prostitutes and stuff was out. And, you know, it was like drug infested and all that. But we walked. We walked through this through the neighborhoods and stuff. And we did what we had to do. We got there. The apartment sucked, y'all. The apartment sucked. We was in there like, oh, absolutely not. Because I think he wanted us to pay like the first month's rent and I think double security or something like that. But we was looking like, oh my God, the kitchen was so small, it don't even look like you could stand in it. That's how small it was. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not trying to exaggerate, but the kitchen was small. It was really, really small. And I was just looking like, oh my God, the furnace didn't look like it was working. The apartment was cold. I was like, yeah, this is one of those slum landlords like that's gonna try to play you. I don't know about this. This ain't gonna probably work for me. So the other girl was just like, I'm desperate. I want to get out that shelter. I might do it. But for some reason, I guess she didn't end up doing it. So that was another thing I was praying to God. I'm like, look, God, see, that didn't work out. I'm like, you know, send me a sign. What you want me to do? So here's where the miracle come in at. So I cried really, really bad the night before I went down to housing. I don't know if y'all familiar with housing, but housing is like a place, you know, like public housing, Section 8, stuff like that. So I went to Housing Authority where I live. And I was like, the night before I went, I prayed to God and I was just like, I promise I'm going to do right. If you just, you know, get me out of this jam, I'm going to do right. Please, Jesus, just get me out this jam. I caught the bus with my kids down there. I don't know. I probably looked at Homey Girl. I probably looked at Country Raggedy Girl. I don't even know, to be honest, y'all. But I went down there. And the man felt bad for me. And he was just like, I'm going to push your stuff through, and I'll put you on this program where we pay half of your rent. Like, they didn't do the whole, what's the thing? It wasn't like public housing where, like, you pay, public housing paid for your, like, your BG&E and, like, a portion of your rent. It wasn't like that. I still had to pay for my BG&E. And if I found a spot that I had to pay water, then that was on me. Luckily for me, I found an apartment who you don't pay water, but you definitely had to pay your BG&E. So when I got approved for that, and he told me, he said, take this paper, go find you a spot. I was about to cry, and he saw it in my face. And he saw my daughter in the stroller, and then he saw my son. My son started crying, but I had him in a harness, so I gave him his pacifier. And he just kept looking around, and he was like, here, take this $10. I'm about to cry just thinking about it. This is actually just now really triggered me in a sense, but it's okay. It's real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. We all been down and out, and it's cool. I don't mind telling the story, but yeah, he gave me $10 in my hand and was just like, take this $10. This is the most I can do. I'm technically not even supposed to give you money, but I'm gonna give you this. He was like, I don't know if this can even help you in any kind of way, but I'm willing to give you this. And he was like, take this paper, girl, and go find your house. I'm going to give you 30 days to find something. If you need more time, let me know. I will give you an extension. I'm walking to the bus stop. I call my mother like, Mom, they gave me my little program approved I'm about to go find me a place today. She was like, really? I'm like, yeah. So I'm crying on the bus stop with my kid, my son in my harness and my daughter in stroller. And I'm just like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. When I say I was bawling, crying, I was crying, y'all. I mean, like, it just was like, oh my God, it actually came true. It actually came true. And while I was looking, mind you, I was at that shelter. But I left that shelter because they tried to they stuck me at a place that I gave my $500 rent to. It was like over west. If you know anything about Baltimore, West Baltimore, I do not like West Baltimore. It just seems dirty to me. I hate it. It don't seem like home to me. I love the east side. I love East Baltimore. But anyway, so I'm over west and I'm at this spot and it just seems so cold. It don't seem like a home. Like, it just seemed eerie and like, ooh. I used to sleep sitting up with my kids. You know, I laid them down, but I would sit up and be on the computer because they didn't even have a TV. They didn't even have a TV. It was like an old, like one of them back in the day houses. Like, I was just like scrolling on, watching YouTube videos and stuff. And you know, because back when that happened to me, I don't even know if people even watching Netflix. I don't even think Netflix was. I don't know, because this was in what, 2012? I don't know. But yeah, y'all, I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work for me, baby. I ain't even gonna hold you. It's giving no. I can't do it. Like, I have to find something now. So, in the midst of me still looking for a place, my kid's father, I hope his mother don't see this video. She gonna be like, yup. Probably comment right on this video. But anyway, here's my truth. So, I didn't want to stay at the apartment, the little place that they had me in, right? So, he used to sneak me in the basement so that I can lay my head down there with the kids. Because she didn't want me in her house. Because she said she didn't want nobody laying up in her house, which is cool. I get it. You didn't want nobody laying up in your house? Okay. But we still snuck in there. I ain't gonna hold you. Was it right? No. Okay, I can admit it wasn't right. But he snuck me in there. It was funny because he really zipped me up. He zipped me up inside this. She had this little clothes thing that had a zipper on it, like you can hang up clothes. It's like a clothing rack, but it was a zipping up one. So y'all, he's zipping me up in there. Like when she would wake up in the morning for work, he used to tell me get in there and zipping me up in there and be like, shh, don't move. So she'll come down, probably get her stuff out the washing machine and stuff like that, and then go back up. But this one particular day, how I got caught was my dumb tail. So as I'm leaving out the back, she must can hear us talking, or she must have heard us talking. I don't know. I don't know if it's brother snitch, which I doubt his brother snitch though. But if he did, cool, whatever. But I left out the back door and walked around the front and knocked on the door like I was coming in to see my daughter and my son. And the whole time, that lady was looking like, she said, come in for a minute. It's not funny. I'm laughing right now. She said, come in for a minute. I was like, yeah, what's up? Well, I didn't say what's up to her though, but I did say, I said, yes. She was like, so you think that, she was like, so you just gonna keep on leaving out my back door and coming to be my friend, huh? Like, I don't know. I was like, huh? I definitely was stuck like, huh? I didn't even say nothing. I let her have it. I'm just like, okay. And she was saying basically how she felt. Like, you're not gonna keep coming. I said I didn't want you in my house. I did try to tell her, like, you know, I don't want to be over where I said that house, whatever. So my brother was like, I have a brother who has mental issues like schizophrenia and bipolar and all that stuff. They put him in like a apartment, but it was ran by like a program to help people who, you know, have issues. They'll give you a little apartment and stuff. So he let me stay in his back room of his apartment. I stayed there until I found my apartment with that little program that they approved. I sure did. I found me an apartment. And I had did what I did. Like, I literally just, I can't even, Why y'all not trying to let me over? But yeah, I found me a place, y'all, and I made sure that it was, you know, a nice apartment for me and my kids and everything. And when I say I absolutely loved the apartment, I didn't like the neighborhood, but the apartment was nice. I ain't even gonna lie, it was nice and neat. It was clean. My kids had their own room. I had my room, a nice little bathroom. It was cool. I made it do what it did. But I say all of this to say, sometimes you have to endure a little pain, a little suffering, a little sneaking into little things. I'm not suggesting that y'all do what I did. Don't sneak in nobody's back door and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I was in a bad place, dark place. It wasn't right. But sometimes you be doing things you not supposed to do. I mean, you got to do what it is until you can get in a better situation. Is all I can really say. But that was my story time. That was my truth. I had the worst. I had a good and bad situation in a shelter. And I thank God for the experience, because look at where I'm at today, though. My kid is good. I'm good. Hang in there. I notice everybody's trying to get on with the YouTube thing. Keep posting. It is not gonna happen overnight, okay? I promise you. If you're looking for overnight success, you might as well go ahead and hang it up, because it ain't gonna work, baby. You're gonna have to post every day, or post every week, or every other day. Whatever your posting schedule that you set for your channel, you need to stick by it. That's the best advice I can give you, really. And be willing to learn. You know what I'm saying? Don't copy others. Make it your own. Be original. Be authentic. And don't try to be extra to get attention. Be true you. Like for me, I'm genuinely one of those silly people. And I like wearing makeup sometimes. And I like putting wigs on. And I like my braids. I like fitness. I like comedy. Like, that's me. I like how I show up on my Instagram. I kind of try to show up like that on YouTube, although YouTube is not really having it. But whatever. Just be yourself, y'all. And that was my story time. I'll see y'all in the next video.